Hello everyone, I hope you're having a good week. I'm delighted and truly honoured that Rabbi Mirvis has agreed to deliver for our community, for our Kehillah, the Derasha, this week, and thank him so much for his beautiful words of Divrei Torah. So in the meantime, I'll just wish you all a good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom, and a Hanukkah Sameach. Looking forward to all of us being able to celebrate together what I hope will be a Hanukkah, a true Hanukkah of light and simcha. Good Shabbos, and over to Rabbi Mirvis.
I'm delighted to extend my very best wishes to all of you, the members of the Ner Yisrael community. I would also like to avail of this opportunity to extend a huge yesher koach to your remarkable spiritual leaders, Rabbi and Rebbetzin Zobin. You are so exceptionally fortunate to have them at the helm of your community, providing a lead through inspirational Divrei Torah, through their own personal example that they set, through chesed activities. Everything that I've heard about the response of Ner Yisrael to the coronavirus has been simply inspirational, so a huge yesher koach to you all. In celebrating the festival of Hanukkah, I believe that the origins of the Chag have a direct bearing on the response that we should be giving to the coronavirus. What do I mean? Hanukkah came in the aftermath of a great tragedy from Am Yisrael, a prolonged period in which there was an outright attempt by the Hellenists to remove Jewish faith from this world. And they succeeded partially because there were those who left their emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who stopped a life of the practice of Torah and mitzvot. And there were some who lost their lives under horrific persecution. And the nation had to witness the establishing of the Greek idol in the Beit Mikdash together with many other atrocities. It was a sad, difficult, painful, and horrific experience for Am Yisrael. Baruch Hashem, thanks to the fight which was launched successfully by the Maccabim, we were able to overcome that Greek threat. And a miracle took place in the Beit HaMikdash. In the midst of those black clouds of sadness, Am Yisrael noticed the silver lining, the symbolism of that miracle, which reflected the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu would guarantee that the light of Torah and mitzvot would never be extinguished and would continue, thanks to the Nisim and Niflaot HaKadosh Baruch Hu, indefinitely for Am Yisrael. So what we did in the aftermath of that episode in our history was to take the silver lining and to create a festival out of it, to always recognize the sadness that we had faced, and at the same time to glorify the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in our midst and the extent to which, as is reflected by the miracle of the oil, he would guarantee the continuity of Am Yisrael in this world. Now let us reflect on two passages in Sefer Breshit that we have been reading. The first relates to naming of children. We find that throughout Sefer Breshit, it's the prerogative of the mother to give a name to a child. And yet, there was an extraordinary situation. Rachel was about to pass away, so sadly in childbirth. She knew that her child would survive. Her dying wish was to give him the name of Ben-Oni. And then Yaakov changes that. He disregards Hodad Shchivmira, the dying wish of his wife, and instead he gives the name Binyamin. How is Yaakov able to go against his wife's wishes? Some of our Mefarshim explain that the term Oni should not be translated as sorrow, indicating Ben Oni, son of my sorrow, but rather son of my strength. Kochi v'reshit Oni, we read later on in Sefer Breshit. Oni can mean my strength as well. So therefore, Binyamin, son of my right hand, indicating strength, is not a change. But that, I believe, should strengthen our question. If there's not much difference, then alachat kama v'chama, how much more so, Yaakov Avinu should have respected his wife's wishes and retained the name. Other Mefarshim explain that actually Yaakov Avinu was troubled by the name given by Rachel, because the child would grow up with a name which would be a constant reminder of the origins of his life and the sadness which surrounded his birth. He would be a child of sorrow for the rest of his life. Yaakov Avinu didn't want the child to forget what had happened, but at the same time he wanted him to draw strength from those experiences in order that he would provide inspiration for others. Therefore he named him Binyamin, son of my right hand, so that he would always show courage, heroism, and strength, and would be a source of unity and togetherness and strength for the mishpacha. And isn't that exactly what Binyamin became? A divided family, all loved him. And in the course of time, Shevet Binyamin was one of the two Shvatim to survive together with Shevet Yehuda. And the Beit Mikdash was built on the territory of Binyamin and Yehuda, indicating the longevity of life that was there, thanks to the symbolism of Binyamin, through which Yaakov Avinu wanted us to recognize the sadness of the past, but at the same time, to realistically build a positive and constructive, strong future through always being optimistic. Let's now have a look at what happened in the aftermath of the Mabul. Noach became the new Adam Harishon. All of mankind was to descend from him. He had an opportunity to press a reset button. Life on earth was recommencing. What was Noach's response? Vayachel Noach ish adama vayitakarem, vayesh min hayayin vayishkar. You know, at the beginning of the Parsha, it's Noach ish tzaddik. Now after the Mabul, he's ish ha'adama. He had started out at the great heights of righteousness. Now he was a mere man of the earth. As opposed to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu, how's he described right at the beginning of Sefer Shemot? Ish mitzri hitzilanu. That's how the daughters of Yitro described him. He's an Ish mitzri. And at the end of his life, at the end of Sefer Dvarim, V'zot habracha asher berach Moshe, Ish ha'elokim. He started out as an Ish mitzri and he became an Ish ha'elokim. Whereas Noach started as an Ish tzaddik and he became an Ish ha'adama. This was Noach's opportunity to use his tzidkut for even higher, greater levels. But he just fell apart. Planted a vineyard. He was the Ish ha'adama. And then he became drunk. He abused life on earth. And what kind of example was he setting at the time? Noach was so affected by sadness, by tragedy, by witnessing the wiping out of life on earth, he just couldn't pull himself together in order to respond in a constructive and positive way. And in many respects we can understand him, we can sympathize with him. But what a major missed opportunity it was. Now that, Baruch Hashem, vaccines have started to be rolled out during the past week, and we can now see the light at the end of the coronavirus tunnel, all of humankind is just about to be in a position whereby we have an opportunity to press a reset button. Ever since 1945, we've been living in the post-war era. From 2021 onwards, we will be living in the post-virus era. So what is our response going to be? We are enduring the dark clouds of COVID-19. There is so much reason to be despondent, to be sad. This has been an enormous tragedy. So many people have lost their lives. So many people have been ill and are ill, and may Hashem protect us, are going to become ill. So many people have seen a direct effect on their income, their parnasa. Some have lost jobs. Others are finding it exceptionally difficult. So many people have been exceptionally alone. So many people have been experiencing mental health problems. You're all familiar with it. The list goes on and on. But Baruch Hashem, there is a silver lining. There's a silver lining to these dark clouds. Academic studies right around the world indicate that spirituality has increased. More and more people have been praying during the coronavirus. People are finding that their neshamas are looking for an opportunity to channel their expressions of connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu during these times. We need to capitalize on it. We've also seen that absence highlights what you are missing. People are chalishing to get back to shul within a regular rhythm of tefillah activity. We're missing kiddushim, we're missing contact with others. We're raring to go in terms of what we previously have just taken for granted. And yes, also, we are finding that through Zoom, through various virtual opportunities, there are new ways to connect, which will certainly be continued in the post-COVID era alongside our regular activities of in-person life. We need to take advantage of what is transpiring right now. And for me, there is one lesson above all which is standing out. We're facing an enemy. It's a hidden enemy. It's the virus. So who's on our side? Actually, it's everybody. Because the virus doesn't differentiate between people of different genders, races, faiths. The virus doesn't recognize borders. As far as the virus is concerned, all of humankind is on the same side. Isn't this the most incredible message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to everybody on earth at this time? There is no place for unnecessary hatred, for sinat chinam. There is no place for wars, for conflict. We're all on the same side. And especially for us within Klal Yisrael, shouldn't we at long last recognize, after close to 2,000 years after Churban HaBayit, sinat chinam has no place in our ranks. We're all on the same side. And now, as we're going to move into the post-COVID era, we need to focus our attention on bringing people together, strengthening those bridges of love, of affection, of understanding, of tolerance, because we are all on the same side. In Hanukkah style, we need now to make the most of the silver lining that is present together with these very dark clouds. Just like Yaakov Avinu naming his child Binyamin, we should never forget the suffering. We mourn people who have passed away. We identify with those who are physically ill and emotionally in trouble. It's real and we are with it. And at the same time, let us now emerge from COVID strengthened as the children of strength, as the Binyamins of our time, as opposed to becoming the Benoni, children of sorrow in the post-COVID era. And let us move forward to a bright, brilliant, and wonderful future, thanks to the experiences that we are enduring right now. And may HaKadosh Baruch Hu bless the Ner Yisrael community and the role that you are playing, the constructive and wonderful role in all of these respects of which we have been speaking, to have a Hanukkah Sameach, to be well, to be healthy, and indeed to continue to contribute in your own very special way, not just to Klal Yisrael, but to all of humanity during these challenging times. Shabbat Shalom and Hanukkah Sameach.